Alright, welcome back to the Road Warden, or just Road Warden, finally after a long time. So I'll go ahead and get on with it, because I don't have a lot of time and I don't remember a whole lot. You introduce yourself and touch on the more obvious sides of the potential deal with the guild and the city chief, their troops, their pay, and the patrols they would establish. The overview of taxes, trade routes, the overview of taxes. Trade routes would bring new life to this place. You try to sound warm. It's a win-win. Throughout your speech, the mayor observes you patiently, without interruptions. I see, she finally responds. As she observes your palfrey, she twists her deer buckle, left and right, left and right. If it was that simple, I'd be eager to applaud. But it never is that simple, is it? Her eyes fill up with melancholy, despite her smile. I appreciate that you're coming with a carrot, not a stick, but when it comes to the guild, there's always a catch. Her accent is now almost identical to the one used in the city. What sort of catch? I'm telling you everything I know. I can't ask you to trust me, but I'm not hiding anything. You don't have to trust anyone blindly. The negotiations can satisfy both sides. You're speaking from experience, I assume. Huh. I'll go with this one. You don't have to trust anybody blindly. Oh, I wouldn't dare to trust some coin-hoarding trolls. She laughs at her own joke. They would devour the walls that defend them, if they could. And I know some of the dirty tricks they use. Here, listen to this one. She theatrically clears her throat, patting her chest with one hand and covering her mouth with another. Then leans forward, it's early in the morning, and rests on her elbows, allowing her hands to freely make gestures. You make a deal with a settlement. Flour and wool in exchange for coins and tools. You send the first traders, and they imply that you are ready to pay more. Let's say parchment. Months later, you want no more rye, just the parchment and wool. We can nae butcher any more melflans, the locals say. Don't worry, you answer. We'll send you a small flock. Just turn one of your fields into a pasturage. As she pretends to speak as different characters, her voice comically shifts, and she has no issue switching between accents. Hmm. Yeah, I'll keep a straight face. She swings her hand above the table. Another year goes by, and while there's still more parchment, the village lacks some crops. The tribe needs not just tools and coins, plenty of coins, but also seeds, and the guild is not satisfied. Sending our wagons costs a lot, and there are more highwaymen now. If you want us to come again, you need more moflans, and to sell us their cheese. And guess what? With a haunting laugh, she straightens up and spreads her arms, like someone a third her age. Turns out that the village can't say no anymore. They lack supplies, seeds, and land. They can't refuse. See, I know, she's right, and it's better not to say anything stupid. Don't you think the city would see value in keeping you strong? Fewer risks for them. I smile. I have no doubt that a smart leader like yourself is going to protect her people from these games. Huh. See, that might be kind of condescending a little. Huh. But nodding would be kind of dismissing her worries. Maybe this one. Ha, I definitely don't think so. While the 10 cities are trying to get back on their feet, the tribes are safe, but once they feel confident enough to strike down the resistance, oh, they will, especially since there's no imperial court to temper their ambitions. She reaches for her buckle. A weak settlement with a garrison loyal to Hovlaven's interests, that is always more reliable than a place like ours, which can always get loose. No matter what happens, I'm going to look at their hands, and you can tell them that. She nods towards you. But you should also take an example from our caution. She straightens up and adjusts her cape. Let's finish the introductions. I'm Thais. Thais? One of the keepers of the Ape Ale Inn, and the mayor of Howler's Den. I assume it would be convenient for you to take my answer back to Hovlaven. She wonders for a moment. Say, what could we expect the first caravan? After winter? It depends on what you can sell, and what you want in return. Excuse me. While the conversation goes on, the food gets served. The refreshing aroma of roasted mutton, covered with a thick sauce made of mint, parsley, and honey, tempts you to bite in right away. The juices are sinking into the round trencher, a plate made of simple, brown bread. There's also a small bowl filled with chopped red radishes and a sliced boiled egg, and a mug filled with cold buttermilk. It's all brought by a few young people, all of them referring to the mayor as their mother. And in the end, the innkeeper himself shows up to wish you a good meal. He's wearing a clean orange tunic and a not so clean apron made of hemp. He politely introduces himself as Eric's, and, after confirming you won't get sick from what he prepared, he leaves you and his wife to your conversation. Blah. Tears the meat into smaller pieces, then eats slowly, often expressing her enjoyment with a hum. Meanwhile, we get to the important stuff. Okay. Sounds like the nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grain and vegetables, with the expectation that a squad of soldiers would provide additional protection. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly, so we don't need your guards on our walls. But a lone road warden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters willing to patrol the paths, maybe even the heart of the woods. That's what we expect in return. You're not an expert when it comes to linen, cheese, and wool, so the mayor spends a good couple of minutes describing the outstanding quality of what the village has to offer, especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Master Crispus. You vaguely recognize the name of this tailor, Shoemaker, but you've never earned enough to pay him for as much as a single sleeve. And of course, we will never reject some steel and bronze. We lack alloys for sickles and scythes. She then repeats her question about starting a trade route. Truth be told, the guild is not sure what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. Now let's let the stuff load in first. Understandable, but you won't find much in the other tribes. They have barely enough to survive, even after they trade for our crops. For we have the only decent soil in this realm. At least the people of Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while creeks sell meat and wool. Actually, if you haven't been in Creeks yet, the farthest village in the northeast, you should give them a call. You could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping their roads safe. White marshes, on the other hand, as well as old pagos, are close to worthless. For a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up, walks to another table, and offers her trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself. With a trembling voice, he thanks her, then starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down, wipes her hand into a clean cloth, adjusts the folds of her cape, and once again crosses her legs. So tell me, Krim, how is Hovlaven? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. Let's see, what can we go with? Looking brighter, the harbor is full of life, and the kids grow strong. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. Not everyone has their own bed, but the new generation is ready to start their own fight. It's far from great. Children who lost their parents during the war have no trade in hand, and there's not enough settlements to send them away. Hmm. Might help to if Hovlaven seems weaker than they are, then it could gain her sympathies. Yeah. It couldn't be easy, not after all the blows that landed on that place. That's the thing with the works of humans, isn't it? A house you built for half a year turns to dust with a single storm. A proud city falls, The Emperor's mask shatters. The children from this village, she glances at the young girl cleaning the table, are just as fragile. They have food, clothes, and walls, but there will be a time of disaster, and once it strikes, and only then, they'll take to heart the same lesson that the cities had to learn, and it will be forgotten again after the next sunny spring. She pauses and looks at you with a sad smile. But don't let me babble any longer. What can I do for you, Crip? Oh, okay, so now this is where we ask for a bunch of stuff. Which is, I'm guessing is going to be everything, actually. I'm looking for Asterion, the previous Road Warden. She stares you in the eyes, then turns towards Sodal. Is your palfrey a mare? We have 2 jacks. Could use some mules. Excellent, so I won't give you anything stronger than a hinny. It is, but I need it to stay strong and healthy. I'm looking for Asterion. Huh. How much do I care about that guy? I'm supposed to get at whatever his treasure is, right? Yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah, no fun for us at all. It is, but I need it to stay strong and healthy. Right. There's no time for the romances of drought animals. Drought animals? Drought? It would take almost a year, correct? It was all just a thought. When her eyes return to you, they regain their sharpness. I'd rather avoid long talks about that man. Let him remain as a part of the past spring. Since you're asking about him, I can only assume he was indeed sharing his goals with you. With yours. Huh. Wait, I know nothing about it. I'll get paid for finding him, that's all. Let's not lie to her. Yet, you're already different from him. I like it when travelers don't try to sell me bluegrass. Seeing your frown, she waves it off. It's just a saying. His words were stronger than his deeds, and he's no longer welcome here. Whoa, he's in trouble. What are his wrongdoings? If you have to know, he failed, and won't get a second chance. He was meant to escort Agigia, a daughter of mine, to her betrothed in Gale Rocks. She was a great archeress, and the road from here to the coast is not that dangerous. When they saw goblins on the road, Asterion ordered her to push through, right into their trap. She touches her deer-shaped buckle. They got jumped like a bunch of wealthy pilgrims. A road warden worth their gruel should know better. He can fight with a blade, but my girl, she never had a chance. Okay, so she's definitely dead. He's probably dead. She sighs and looks at the gate. He disappeared. Okay, he just disappeared. He disappeared soon after his pitiful attempt at apologizing to me, and we closed our doors behind him, for good. I'll let you know if he ever tries to return. Huh, probably shouldn't ask about that. Huh. I think this one will be the most hostile towards Asterion, which she might like the most. Why did you let him leave? He didn't do anything, well, forbidden by our laws. He was simply stupid and cannot be trusted. But this isn't Hovlaven. We have no rich folk to dread. We treat each other fairly. Lost in her thoughts, she rubs the neckline of her dress. One good thing I could say about him is that he didn't try to justify his decisions, or to avoid the consequences. But I'd rather have him prove first he can do what's asked of him. Okay, where can I find him? She adjusts her cape with an annoyed shrug. Try asking for him in the north. He spent most of his time between white marshes, gale rocks, and creeks. Here, he wasn't that eager to share his plans. Did you ever find your daughter? For a few breaths, her green eyes seek something in your face. Her words are careful, yet hesitant. She's with the fogs now. The goblins were after food, so they carried her cell away. One day, she's going to charge at our walls, awoken and empty. Even though she was a bit mawkish, her heart was strong and patient. She listened to people, was ready to help them and to cry with them. I could tell you stories, but what for? Let the dead rest. You have quite a big family. For you. She titters weakly. At one point, There were 12 kids living in our house. 9 girls, 3 boys. They come and go, as it should be. A few are already with the forest, but most are all grown now, even started their own families. She looks away, at a girl wiping spilled milk with a wet cloth. To be perfectly clear, they aren't exactly our children. It's a custom of our village for the mayor to look after the orphans. Thankfully, Eric's has a big heart, and much more patience than I do. As she speaks, her smile widens. Thanks for the help. I wonder, back in Hovlaven, did you spend any time in Backwood Corner? It used to be this dark, dirty alley with muggers, working even in the daylight. I stayed there with Octavia, the miller, in exchange for doing chores for her. She had this small wooden hut. Oh, okay, let's I don't have too much time, so I guess I'll have to leave it there. So I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.